Hello guys, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Lone Vic, and this is another review, another honest talk where I share my honest subjective opinion about a game from my collection, which I am talking about things I liked and I didn't like in this game after a few good playthroughs and after having some experience with the game. And today we're talking about Beyond the Sun, a game from Rio Grande Games for 2 to 4 players, in which you'll be discovering and colonizing other planets and growing a technological tree together as all players, as a group, so maybe even cooperatively, I could say. And, well, the player who gets the most victory points at the end of the game, whose corporation gets the most points at the end of the game, wins. If you like this video and if you would like to support my channel and help it grow, you can always click the like button under the video. There is a subscribe button and a notification bell to ring as well if you want to be notified about new videos on my channel. In the description to the video you can find a link if you feel like buying me a cup of coffee. And right now let's jump in and talk about the good and the not so good things about Beyond the Sun. So Beyond the Sun isn't the freshest game on my shelf, let's say, when it comes to the time period. It's been on my shelf for a year or two right now. I don't really remember how long, but it's been there for some time and it's been played on and off. If I want to talk about the positive things about this game, then definitely the theme and the mechanics of the game is pretty original, because the main focus of the game is growing a technological tree of inventions that you will be using in order to travel into space to distant planets and to dominate with your fleet and with your resources and your population and so forth and so on. So this fact that all the players are creating this technological tree together and they can benefit from the technologies that other people invent is a pretty interesting mechanic. It's a pretty interesting flow of the game, and it's something that feels very original and not too overused in many titles. So definitely freshness when it comes to the main arc of the game is here, and I like that. This was the thing that convinced me to buy this game in the first place when I read the description. So that's definitely it. The fact that you can play an easier game with symmetrical corporations which have the same skill set and the same boards, just with different logos and player colors, as well as corporations that have some asymmetrical advantages, is also obviously a plus, because it can change the game up a bit. And there are also expert and basic rules for the technology card setup, so yeah, there is some variety to the game and you can increase the level of difficulty a bit when you're feeling comfortable with the rules and with the game flow and everything like that. From other good things, the interesting thing is that you've got a lot, because 20 per player, and with 4 players that gives you 80 custom dice prepared for this game, and they are pretty nice to the touch and well implemented into the mechanic. They're very useful. You manipulate them all the time basically, and they're connected with a pretty nifty idea of those supply columns that you have on your board, and how you empty them based on population is a pretty interesting concept as well. So mechanically this game is very solid and very well thought through, and it gives a lot of satisfaction when you see your corporation grow and when you can create a chain effect that will provide you with some bonuses. Very satisfying. It's kind of like an engine builder, but not exactly, because you can't really pull off the same engine twice in a row very often, but there are a few opportunities to kind of make it happen. Now, the exploration in space is also pretty interesting, but a straightforward kind of mechanic where it's based on domination. So the strength of your ships calculated against all the other players allows you to dominate a sector or a planet, and that's basically it. And all in all, it's a very satisfying experience. And the last good thing that I can mention here is that even though the complexity of some of the actions and some of the technologies that you have on the cards can be a bit high, then the iconography and the descriptions are very clearly written, and once you get to know them, once you familiarize yourself with the rulebook, there are very few doubts of what's going on the board. It takes a bit of getting used to, because definitely there are a lot of possibilities, but it's very well designed on that front. And in a game that's high on complexity like this one, this is key. This is a very important thing. So kudos to the designers for that. Now, talking about the negative, or the not so good, as I like to call them, things, because, well, they can be negative for me, but they don't have to be negative for everybody else. You know, everybody has different expectations and can form their own opinions. So this is just a not so good subjectively on my behalf and from me individually, is that, well, as well designed as this game is graphically, it's not the most attractive game on the table, definitely. But I think that with the theme and with the mechanical complexity, it really doesn't have to. But then again, I've seen more complex games than this one, which have a more attractive graphic design, and I like games that are an eyepiece on the table, as apart from being good to play, basically. So that's a little bit of a drawback, but just a tiny one. The more serious one for me is the rulebook, and the fact that it's on my shortlist for being one of the more difficult ones to go through in order to understand how to play the game. So if you're having problems as well, then a how to play video is on my channel already to help people out with this game, because the story is that basically I took it to the table after a few good months or even half a year of absence, and I had to go back to the rulebook to remind myself of the rules before playing, and I had such a difficult time with that I decided that this merits a how to play video definitely. So the rulebook, well, the first thing that struck me, even when I came back right now, forgetting about everything else, is that you open the rulebook and there is no setup, because the setup is on a separate sheet, a separate handout that you get, and that's a bit counterintuitive, but that's just the tiny thing. The iconography is explained very well, but I feel that some of it is not in the places that you would intuitively look for when you are going through the rulebook initially. There is one or two concepts that are not explained at all. Like, for example, you cover those guild spaces on the board with tiles that later will have to be taken off of the board in order to use those guild spaces for your actions. But the rulebook doesn't mention how this happens. While playing the game, you will discover how it happens. But is it so difficult to write in the rulebook, mention in the rulebook that this is the way that it's going to be, so that I'm informed pre-game that this is how I can achieve this goal? And it's completely nowhere. And also, I feel that some technologies that you find and some event cards that are placed on the board are a bit stronger than others. So sometimes when you are drawing those two technologies and you need to decide which one to place, you can draw at least one that's a complete dud, or even sometimes happens to two, and you have to still make a choice out of two bad choices, basically. And some of them are so good that if you draw two good ones, then you're really torn apart which one to choose and which one to discard. And I know that this might be very convincing for some people, because there is a lot of decision making involved in this game, but for me it kind of felt a bit imbalanced when it comes to some of the technologies, but only some of them. Or events, that was a better example with the events, because some of those events are really a bit anticlimactic. So that's where I'll draw the line here. And the last thing that I will say on the negative side when it comes to this game is that although the custom dice are a really cool thing to have here, and they have a very intricate function in the gameplay, they are very tiny, and manipulating them, because you don't roll them, you change the size of the dice based on the increasing strength of your ships, or whether the ship changes into population or resource. The size makes manipulation difficult sometimes, especially for people with bigger hands, and that's a bit of an issue that some people had during play when we were playing this game, and I can't leave it unsaid. basically, because, well, it was annoying at some points for certain individuals. So that's definitely it. Summing up, if you are looking for a game with an original mechanic and an original flow, building a tech tree together and benefiting from it together, but then doing all that you can to score the most points in the process, then Beyond the Sun is definitely for you. If you like the space theme and the spacefaring and everything like that and the technological science fiction kind of stuff, definitely for you. If you are looking for a game that's higher on the complexity rating than the average, then this game is definitely for you. If you are looking for a game with some asymmetrical play, definitely a given. If you're not afraid of reading through a rulebook a few times to figure it all out, or having to watch a video with how to play, or going to the forums to ask or search for some answers to some questions, then you will still like this game. And if your hands are not too big to manipulate those tiny dice, then you won't be annoyed by this game. And if you're also, one more, if you're not a person who values the graphics design more than the gameplay, because there is more gameplay and more game than graphics and looks on the table with Beyond the Sun. So if you checked off all of those boxes, look for the game, find it, you won't be disappointed. And thanks for watching the video. We've come to the end right now. My name was Lone Vic. This was Beyond the Sun. And hopefully this video helped you either put this game on your radar or maybe take it off of your radar. At least you know that it's there, that it exists right now, and you know what I think about it. And if you have other opinions or you want to share, there's the comment section below the video just for that. And I'm eager to read your thoughts about this game, as every other game that I've reviewed or made any video of. And if you would like to support the channel, if you like what I'm doing here and you want to help me grow, there's the like button, the subscribe button, the notification bell to ring if you want to be notified about new videos that are coming into my channel. And if you feel like it, there's also the link in the description to buy me a cup of coffee. And thanks for being here, thanks for sticking with me, thanks for watching the video. I hope you're having a great day, night, evening, wherever you are, and that you're enjoying yourself. Stay safe. See you soon here on my channel. Bye bye.